Okay, so Pauline O'Brien, registered psychotherapist and the founder of the Compassion Project, a mental health agency here in Hamilton. The compassionproject.ca is the website. And Pauline joins me now. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Anthony.
We talked a bit off mic about just the situation we're in and how work has changed for you. It's obviously changed for me. And I think I don't want to sound all alarmist, like think of the children, but also it's one of those things. I think we see children as very resilient and
Yeah.
able to bounce back. And I think in a lot of ways they are, but just in your experience, have you noticed even maybe more parents booking appointments for their children and having their children talk to somebody during these times?
I've noticed parents kind of coming to me and saying, you know, what do I do and how do I do this, right? And I think that you're kind of asking me that in the question that you asked me before. You're kind of asking me to do the same. I think um, certainly that I think that kids, I agree, kids are incredibly resilient and resourceful, but that also they've been very much an afterthought, and they're the ones that really have been impacted. Although I think that they're doing really well, right, given what they're going through, especially those that have transitioned back to school and, you have to wear a mask all day and they seem to, be adjusting reasonably well. Um, so yeah, I think, they are being impacted. Am I seeing them more? I don't think so, but I think that the parents, I'm seeing that being a theme of conversation a lot, and that, how do I deal with this on my own and at the same time create some semblance of normalcy for my kids. That's definitely something that I've seen.
Is there an age group that you think is a little more impacted than others?
Um, I would have to think it would be really tough for adolescents. I think kids, as long as we give them information and we explain things, that they're okay. Like, I know my kids have really adapted reasonably well. Like, it's their quote unquote new normal, although we hate to say that, right? As long as we tell them why, I think that it's okay. But I worry about adolescents because at this time, their peers are really where it's at for them developmentally. They want to be with their friends, and I think, they've been isolated, and especially now that most of them are doing primarily online learning, they're dealing with it on their own, and they might not necessarily go to their parents for support, right? Because, think about when you were back in high school, like, your parents weren't necessarily the people that you wanted to be aligned with. It was more so you wanted to be with your friends all the time, right? So
Yeah. So what about the ages? We're coming up now closer and closer to Halloween.
yeah.
And this is that time of year. I mean, we were kind of talking about this next to Christmas. Like, this might be for a lot of kids, this is more exciting than
This is,
Christmas.
yeah, for my kids, this is definitely more exciting than Christmas. So I think that there's a big disappointment coming up soon. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, what do you like? Should there be a concerted effort by parents to make things as normal as possible?
Um, I think that parents will do what they've been doing, and they'll pivot, right? We talk about how the businesses have pivoted. Like, for example, my business, I was working primarily in person, providing psychotherapy services. And since COVID, we've pivoted to go 100% online, right? And I think parents will do the same, and they have been doing it. And I think that this is just providing another opportunity for us, um, to just go with the flow and create that sense of, this is the way it is now, and this is what we're doing now. And I think that so long as parents are, um, explaining things why, like, I think kids by now know why it's not a good idea to go back and, to go to people's houses, um, and to do all that. But I think that it lends itself another opportunity to do something more creative and to create something different. So even though it's disappointing, I think it can be something that parents can do, to create something new or a new tradition.
Yeah, what I'm getting from this is that if you, and obviously it depends on the age group, but actually having those conversations goes a long way. Because I think some people might say, hey, I don't want to freak them out, I don't want to scare them. And I think what I'm gathering from you, it's not about scaring them, it's about just, as long as those lines of communication are open, it
Yeah.
keeps the kids at least comfortable with the situation.
Yeah, and in particular, like obviously babies, infants, toddlers, they might not really know. They might not be disappointed, right? Because they don't remember. But school age children, they know that there's something going on that's not normal, right? And I think that if we don't acknowledge that, then it just lends itself, like it creates more anxiety, right? People always fear what they don't know. If we give information about, okay, this is the reason why we're not going out for Halloween, for example, um, you know, let's do something else. And it actually can be an opportunity to get creative, and kids, like for example, which I was talking about with my oldest, she was asking maybe, instead of going out for Halloween, can we hide the candy, right? 'Cause thinking about Easter, right? So I thought, oh, that might be a good idea. Or, can we just get together with people who are in our bubble, or just go to Nona's house, for example. Um, doing something that it's a little bit different, acknowledging that it's going to be different, explaining why it's different, and then rolling with it.